witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly coven summoning. My name is Ulsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're
Caffeine and Conjuring, a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
If you missed our last episode, we started our journey through Throne of Glass and read chapters 1 through 14, and today we'll be covering chapters 15 to 28. So please catch up on all the readings so nothing is spoiled for you, and please keep any comments on our social media to the chapters covered as well. We want a good reading experience for everybody.
So last episode, we ended off with Calaena and Kale having a heart-to-heart.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that makes my heart happy, because I think I am a Team Kale girly. So he opens up about their past and his friendship with Dorian. Calaena reveals that her parents are dead. The chapter just ends with Kale reminding Calaena that the final test is tomorrow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So that brings us to Chapter 15. The first test of the competition is revealed, and it is archery. So she's just kind of like, archery? That's the first test? Like, she's super revealed. It's a skill that she's already mastered. And she's the last, I think. She's the last to do this test.
Second to last.
The second to last. So she's like watching all of the competitors do pretty well. She also makes a point to kind of notice that Cain hit the bullseye with all of his arrows, but it wasn't the perfect bullseye. It wasn't the black dot. And she makes note of that. So you know that, like, she can do it. There's no doubt about it. She has to intentionally aim for the edges of the target. So she's trying to stay under the radar, not attract too much attention. So when it's her turn, she can't help. She just can't quiet that little voice in her head that's just saying, do it, just hit the bullseye. So her last arrow does hit the absolute center of the furthest target. And like before this, everybody was sort of like laughing at her that she wasn't doing well. And I know that there's like a really good quote there that I want to read as well, but she just sort of like does it, and then just everybody just quiets. There's like no more laughing. I think that's the point where everyone is just like, there's something else. She's a little better than she's leading on.
I think we have the same quote highlighted because I also have a little note here for this.
Okay.
So what I have highlighted is, I am Calaena Sardothien, Ardalin's assassin. If these men knew who I was, they'd stop laughing. I am Calaena Sardothien. I'm going to win. I will not be afraid.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So that is the quote. Oh, I just love her.
I do too. And I love, like, after she hits the absolute center, it says, and I quote, "The arrow hit the absolute center, obliterating the black dot. They stopped laughing."
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right.
Kale, yeah, he scowls at her like he's not happy that she did it, but you know, she had to shut them up. But she's also like, she feels a little like frustrated about it as well. Like she's not happy that she had to make herself lesser.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel like she won anything. Like that's just, who was the last? Was Peller the last?
Yeah.
But he didn't get eliminated. And I think this is going to come up, like, because it specifies that his skills are in poisons, and I think that's going to come up at some point throughout the rest of the novel. Yeah, and then it says, but though she hadn't lost by any means, Calaena absolutely could not stand the feeling that she hadn't really won anything at all. I feel so sad, because she's such a badass, and she can't just prove to everybody that she's a badass. Not yet. Not yet.
So chapter 16, continuing on with her training with Kale, she's trying to push herself to her physical limits. She's struggling with her physical condition after a year of harsh labor in the mines. She's still struggling with all the after effects of her trauma from the mine.
Mm-hmm.
She still gets sick easily. She's definitely still weak. She's having a hard time getting herself back, even up to a good fighting condition. So Calaena also reveals the origin of the 3 large scars on her back. They were inflicted on her first day in Endovier as a punishment. She's telling the story to Kale and the brutal treatment she received. Kale asks what'd she do to deserve it? And she just responds, deserve it? No one deserves to be whipped like an animal. And this is kind of where Kale is realizing the magnitude of the salt mines and how horrible the conditions are. It's not just prison and working to pay off their dues. Like, they're
treated worse than animals.
Yeah, it's essentially a concentration camp.
Mm-hmm.
So, carrying on with her heart-to-heart about her past, she shares the tragic fate of a fellow slave who helped her in the mine. No one helped you? Kale asked. Only in the morning, a young woman slipped me a tin of salve while we were waiting in line for breakfast. I never got to thank her. Later that day, 4 overseers raped and killed her.
Oh, that part made me stomach sick.
Yeah. And I can only imagine Kayla's visual reaction to hearing that as well. Like, anyone hearing that, if that were to actually happen, that's horrifying.
I think he also, tries to ask her if she got raped.
Yeah, they definitely danced around that.
Yeah, because he's like, but you were a woman in Endovir. No one ever... And he trailed off.
Yeah.
He was unable to form the word.
He doesn't want to know at this
No. Nope. But she does say, that they were too afraid of her. She's so smug. She's like, oh, they were just too afraid of me.
So, the next day, we kind of witness firsthand what will happen if the champions try to escape. One of the champions, Sven, attempted to run away from the trial and was immediately shot down by arrows. They go into detail about how his body was just splayed across the floor with his arm reaching towards the door, towards his freedom.
That's so sad.
So they're definitely realizing how serious they were about they're not able to leave. Mm-hmm. Don't try to escape. It's not going to happen. And Calaena has a thought. Maybe he realized he had no chance of winning, and this kind of death was far better than returning to whatever place he'd come from.
Yeah. No doubt she's having, she's thinking about the time that she tried to escape from Endovir.
Yeah.
Because to her, it didn't matter if she got killed in her attempt to escape, because either way, whether she got away or if she was killed, it was better than being there.
Yeah.
So chapter 17, we're back to Dorian. This is his sulky chapter. So Dorian attends a court session with his mother, Queen Georgina, and can I just say, she is the mama bear. She wants her son married and off to make babies, and she don't care.
Well, she does care that...
True.
That their bloodline stays pure.
That's true. That's true.
Suitable suitor, so someone of status.
Yes.
Like a princess.
It's like she has this binder of appropriate females.
I died when she gave him that, and when I read that for the first time, I was just like, is this bitch serious?
Yeah. So he's very sulky in this chapter. He's complaining that he feels bored and restless. He's out of place among the nobles. Our poor princeling.
Poor little... Oh, I was gonna say something I shouldn't have, so...
Oh. Okay.
Carry on.
He's very woe is me in this chapter, and I kind of wanted to, punch him in the face. Because, this guy... He's being a baby.
Hello, ma'am. Have you not seen any of Kale's dialogue?
But at least he's broody. Dorian is just I don't want to dress up fancy. I don't want to go find a princess to marry. For the record, I do still love Dorian. I just had it with him in this chapter. So it goes on, obviously the queen is urging Dorian to find a wife, and it presents him with this list of potential brides, and he's absolutely not interested. He's longing for something more than a political marriage. And she's just don't even think about it. If you're trying to marry for love, get that out of your head. She's like, this is political. I believe this is also where we learn that Calaena has an agreement with Duke Parrington.
Yes.
I think this might be the first mention of that. So he leaves his mother, and after wandering around a bit, he hears people still training in the training room. And this is Calaena, and he's admiring her again until he sees Princess Nemea approach. She's clapping, and he's just like walks in, and he's very like, what's going on here? Where's Kale? He's very concerned about what is happening. And it seems like Nemea really just enjoys being around Calaena. And also, that little whisper that he does in her ear makes her blush.
Gave me goosebumps.
So, love triangle. That's all I'm going to say. Love triangle. But the chapter ends with Dorian teaching Nemea the basics of swordplay, and I'm really interested to see where this goes. Like, they're really setting up a really good, like, friendship with the 4 characters, and I really like that. And I love Nemea. I think I'm going to have my heart broke, because there has to be a betrayal somewhere, and I just really don't want it to be Nemea. So what's your thoughts on this chapter?
I love Dorian.
Yeah, I was okay with it again after his whole him and his mother thing.
Yeah.
I was okay after that.
Like, the dude's been through it too. Growing up, look at his parents.
Yeah.
He deserves to be a baby every now and then. But yeah, the Dorian teaching Nemea the basics in swordplay, I definitely questioned that the first time I read it. I was like, you're telling me the princess and potentially leader of the rebels doesn't know how to use a sword? Like, there's something fishy there.
She's pulling the wool over a lot of people's eyes, I think.
So, continuing with the sparring, chapter 18 starts off, Calaena's just ogling Dorian as he's sparring with Nemea. She's noting how attractive he is, and she even mentions how she sort of wants to give him a kiss. Same, girl. Same. And then the big, bad, broody Kale comes in and kills the mood, and just the big party pooper. He's not happy about Dorian and Nemea sparring.
Yeah, like, I don't think I really fully understand why he's so angry at the whole situation. Like, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything wrong. Like,
yeah, they're just sparring, but like,
yeah.
It's the beautiful princess. She shouldn't be playing with swords.
Ugh, Kale.
Yeah, Kale is not a feminist at this point in time.
For shame.
So, with Kale being the grump that he is, him and Calaena kind of get into it a little bit. They have a little fighting, bicker back and forth, kind of like parent-teenager fight. The typical, I hate you. Calena's little whiny brat moment.
Yeah.
And then he's just there tapping his foot on the ground, and the banter turned into bickering.
That was an interesting scene to visualize.
Yeah. So the love triangle's taking an interesting turn. Kale's back to a more bickering relationship as opposed to a kind of flirty, kind of...
It's like cooling off a little.
Yeah, but with Dorian is kind of picking up a little bit. In last chapter especially, you get a couple moments.
How he'd like to meet her in her chamber to spar, and she's twirling her finger in her hair, saying, I'll be waiting. Beautiful. Chapter 19, we get a little bit of Caltain's perspective. I thought this kind of threw me off a little at first, because I was like, who the hell?
They don't come out and say, like, it's not a book where, like, oh, this is this person's POV, or this is this one. You're just, like, You're kind of partway through the first little bit, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then you have to read it again, because you need to be in that other person's
Yeah, you realize it's her
brain.
talking, you're like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, what?
Yeah. Yeah, so this one starts off, sitting in a chair near the hearth of the Great Hall, Caltain watched Duke Parrington converse with Queen Georgina. So it's interesting to see how, like, conniving and sneaky she really is. Because she is just all sorts of... She's got her little thing going on. We learn that she has alluded to the fact that she will give up her body and potentially marry Duke Parrington if he brought her to court. So he's just this little stepping stone, because her plan is to get Dorian to marry her before Parrington can do anything about it. She's got ambition. I'm still not sure if I like her, but I can respect her ambition.
She got more balls than most of the men in that court.
Oh my gosh. Yes. But then it changes to a conversation between Chaol and Dorian, and Chaol is concerned for Dorian's closeness with Calaena. I think there's a little bit of jealousy.
Absolutely. It feels like such a catty jealousy, too. Like, you can't go see her. Why are you seeing her?
She's an assassin. You're the prince.
You're at our chambers at midnight.
Yeah, so he's telling Dorian that he needs to stay away from her because nothing good can come from it. Like, she's an assassin. He's a prince. There are some big jealous flags being waved here. And they both have a thing for the pretty little assassin. And we get some discussion on the champion that was killed. Chaol still doesn't have any more information about it, but he's still investigating. So we find out that literally all of his innards had been scooped out. Even his brain. And Dorian is like, ooh, maybe it's a brawl gone bad. Like, sir, how many brawls end like this?
Who puts a hole in the top of someone's head and scoops out their brain?
Yeah. That was not a smart comment on Dorian's behalf. I think I'm a little worried. That is pretty well where that chapter ends.
So chapter 20, we see Calaena struggling with her feelings of anger, regret, and a little bit of loneliness. She's upset with Chaol, unsure of his feeling towards her, and she's missing Sam. The vulnerability is even more highlighted when she's playing the piano and her music seems at complete odds with the assassin's persona. That somewhere between the notes was Sam. She forgot about time as she drifted between pieces, voicing the unspeakable, opening old wounds, playing and playing as the sound forgave and saved her.
Ma'am, what do you need saving from and forgiveness for? That was all I could think in this point. What did you do? Who was Sam?
And Dorian's just in the doorway watching her and listening, and he's just so captivated by her playing, and there's a surprising amount of tension and banter once she realizes that he's there. She turns around, she's like, why are you here?
She dropped all vulnerability. Like, it was so fast.
Completely turned stone face. Like, Calaena the assassin is back. Just like that. Not Calaena, the lovesick puppy of the past. Now she's back to bad bitch Calaena. So, even though there's some tension and banter, Calaena does open up to Dorian a little bit, revealing the death of Sam. So we know her long-lost love is gone. And that whole scene was just sad.
Yeah. And, like, Dorian starts that out by, like, teasing her about, like, a secret lover.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how Dorian must have felt. Like, whoops, foot in mouth.
I can't wait to find out a little bit more about Sam.
That was really one of the only spoilers. The only spoiler that I got was knowing that that Sam died. That was really the only thing that I got. The second test begins in chapter 21. And this feels more like the competition I was waiting for.
Yeah.
The archery felt like it was such a joke. But now this is where the heat is. So she's dangling from the castle. She's using tar to climb it. We find out that there's a golden flag at the top of the wall. Each champion was given the choice of items to help them, so ropes, boots, tar, etc. The goal is to just make it to the top, but the one who gets the flag gets a little extra pat on the back. Anyone who doesn't make it or falls to their death is obviously out. Yeah, but our girl doesn't take the easy route, because that's the one that all the bigger guys took. So she's trying to avoid that shit show, so she takes the harder but less crowded route. The brutality of the contest is highlighted when a champion actually falls to his death, and Calaena witnesses firsthand the lengths to which some will go to win. As Grave attempts to sabotage Nox by cutting his rope. And Calaena shows a lot of selflessness in this moment because she puts her own life on the line to save Nox. She slides down the drain pipe that she was just trying to climb up, and she swipes the rope from the poor guy that was down below and sprints across the gargoyles and just leaps into the void. This is how this chapter ends, is just by her jumping.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, girl. Is he worth that? Like, she must have had a total, like, this was just reaction. There was no thought, because I think if the assassin brain that we get a lot from her, I think if she gave it a second to click in, she wouldn't have done that. This was all just instinct. She just, without thinking, just ran to save Nox. It was very out of character for her, I think. From what we know currently, I mean. So that was fun. That was a very heart-pounding chapter. But I was getting Fourth Wing vibes.
Yes, when they were going across the parapet.
Yeah, so I don't know, did Rebecca Yarros take a little inspiration, maybe, from this? Because that...
I think so. I think basically any new age fantasy that we read takes inspiration from something
definitely.
along the way. And if you read enough of it, you're going to see the same things come up. Some a little more copy it, but don't make it obvious than others. I'm talking about you, Powerless, Miss Hunger Games in disguise. But I still love that book. It was still like 4 or 5 star read, even though it was highly plagiarized. It is what it is. I really enjoyed it. Couldn't put it down.
Fair.
But that's getting a little bit off topic here. So, of course, with that chapter ending, you have to jump into the next one right away.
Thank God she didn't leave us on a cliffhanger. She's literally hanging off the wall. A cliffhanger. Yeah. I need to go to bed. Carry on.
So, chapter 22, she manages to catch Nox. She's hurting, though. She went full force, and that rope just hit her in the gut on the way down. So, while all this is happening, Cain, obviously, was the first to get to the flag. So, they make their way to the end. They get the flag. They didn't lose, but she's a little frustrated with herself for being foolish and saving Nox.
There's that assassin brain.
Yeah, she mentions that, like, Arabin would have been in her ear about it. You do what's best for you. You don't save someone else. You get the win, kind of thing. There's no room in the Assassin's Guild for selfless.
Ugh.
So going in with learning more about Arabin, her and Kale are actually talking about it now. We learn about the extensive and costly training she received, and the shocking revelation that she had to repay Arabin for it. So he did all this training, took her when she was 8 years old, put her through years of torturous training to be an assassin, all for him to come around and be like, you owe me for outfits, for the training,
that's just gross.
For anything, food, board, and that was racking up a grand total of over 500,000 gold coin, which she goes on to say that he spent in about 3 hours.
What did you do?
So they kind of get into a little lighthearted banter again, and then, what do you know? Another champion was found dead in the servants' stairwell, mauled and dismembered.
What the fuck?
What
Why?
the fuck?
What is happening? Ugh. I'm so nervous. I have a nervous belly.
Yeah. So at this point, we know something's out for the champions. They just got their third body. There's 2 more tests to come. There's still stealth and tracking. And Calaena's kind of wondering at this point, am I gonna make it? Like, what the fuck is going on around here?
But she does, like, at the end of that chapter too, she talked about how every day she was getting better at, like, running, going further and faster. So, like, she's putting in the work and she's getting the results. And I think at this point, so we learn that right now there's only 9 weeks left until the final duel.
Yeah. If you think about it, like, the fact that not only are champions being sent home from losing in the competition, but now this unknown person or thing is going around, knocked off 3 more champions, and there's still 9 weeks left to this competition. Like, the mortality rate is not looking great.
Chapter 23 was a long one. This chapter, it, like, really blended the emotional vulnerability, the political intrigue, and a potential magical mystery. Okay. So this chapter opens with Calaena jolted awake from a terrifying nightmare about being back in Endovir. This is still case in point of her trauma. Very obvious.
Yeah.
Kale wakes her, worried about her screaming in her sleep, and then he informs her about the Samhain festival. She's allowed to attend the temple, but she's not allowed to attend the feast. She decides that she does not want to go, and she will make her own sacrifice. So basically, they can't force her not to attend the religious side of it, but she can't attend the entertainment side of it. Yeah. Like,
fill your belly and dance and have a good time.
Right.
Just relax. Kick your feet up.
She doesn't strike me as a type to do what she's told, so we're going to see how this plays out. So the story then shifts to Dorian, who's grappling with his own challenges, his courtly obligations. He's fending off his mother's attempts to find him a suitable wife, and deals with the political scheming of Duke Parrington, who we find out is trying to oppress Ilwe and potentially harm Princess Nemea. No, sir. It's Nemea.
No, she's the crown jewel.
Oh, yeah. So Dorian's inner conflict about whether to warn Nehemia, but he doesn't want to be labeled as a rebel sympathizer. Like, my dude, you cannot have the best of both worlds.
Pick a side, my guy.
He wants to be the good guy, but he doesn't want to be labeled as the good guy. Like, this is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
We do also see how Calaena and Nehemia's friendship is blossoming, because she asked Calaena if she'll be going to the feast. So they're like best friends now. She's like, "Are you going?" And Calaena, we find out that she apparently has other plans. This is what is it Dorian or Kale says this, that she has another party she has to attend. So this is their story.
Yeah.
The only thing that really happens in this chapter is that we come face to face with Cain, or Nasty Brute, as Calaena calls him. Nehemia asks who he is, so Calaena responds with, "A soldier in the king's army, though he now serves Duke Parrington." Nehemia says, "Something about him makes me want to beat his face in." Accurate.
Same, girl. Same.
Yes. She has good instincts. They find that Cain was cleaning out the dirt in a symbol in the flagstone. We learn from the princess that it's a word mark.
Yeah. So do you remember that that's what I had highlighted previously? And I was like, kind of keep that word in mind for the future. A little word mark.
It worked. Because as soon as I seen that, I was like, this is it. This is it. So she does explain that they're a part of an ancient religion that died long ago. Okay. And after finding more, she warns that they should leave them alone and that such things were forgotten for a reason. So I think she knows a lot more than what she's leading on. And what the hell is Cain doing?
So going back to, you think Nemea knows more than she's leading on, she also makes a little comment about the word marks, because she asks Calaena if she knows anything about them. Or Lily. She says, "No, I don't know anything about them." But then Nehemia comes back and she says, "You're hiding something," the princess says softly in Elway, though it was not accusatory. "You are much more than you seem, Lillian."
Is this the part that she looks at her forehead? Because I have theories about this.
Yeah, Nehemia would stop looking so strange and stop staring at her brow.
I just got cold shivers again. Oh!
Tell me your theories. Tell me all the theories. I want to know what you're thinking.
I think she has a fucking weird word mark on her forehead, and Nemea can see it, but we can't. Or anybody. This is my thought. There's obviously something there. There's obviously something there. And the way that you're smiling says that I'm onto something.
Okay. So, for anyone listening, you obviously can't see us, but we're always in video when we're recording, so she can see my face. I either try to completely play a poker face, or I'll just continuously smile, because my face has subtitles, and I will give things away. So I might smile at things that mean nothing. I might say stay stone-faced through the most important piece of information given.
Oh.
I am trying to do the balance game of not giving too much away. And it's slowly killing me.
Oh, I just can't wait to come back to all these things, like the things that I've been picking up on, and I mean, it probably doesn't mean anything, but I just want to keep theorizing. Oh, I can't wait.
This series is great for theorizing.
Yeah.
Out of all of SJM's universe, this has the most. And even though, without giving spoilers to the other series, because we haven't talked about them on here yet. No, I can't even say it. So.
Oh, but it's so hard not talking about the other series.
Okay, so spoiler warning, if you haven't read ACOTAR or Crescent City, please fast forward 30 seconds.
Okay, say it quick while they're gone.
So, rereading Throne of Glass after you read the other two series, and you can start putting even more theories together, because some things are kind of leaning into the crossover between the series. Like, you're wondering, could this eventually be something? Like, she said she's done with Throne of Glass, like, it's a completed series, but there's always that chance she could open back up with another series, or character might make an appearance in another.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for, that Crescent City or ACOTAR has taken things from Throne of Glass. Like, I'm waiting to come across these things.
Yeah. Okay, now anyone who hasn't read them is back. We can continue on with our discussion. So, chapter 24, Calaena's in her room. She's staring at a pool of moonlight on the floor. And she notices the tapestry on the wall starts moving. And of course, it's on Samhain, or Halloween in our world. She finds a hidden door behind the tapestry.
Oh.
So, obviously, little Miss Calaena's not the kind of girl who's just gonna put the tapestry back and forget that it's there. She's smart. She's like, I need supplies if I'm gonna go snooping. So thank you for a main character who is gonna go down a creepy tunnel and actually bring supplies with.
Yes. We do not get enough of those female main characters.
No, we do not. So, she opens up the door, she enters the hallway, she's going down the stairs, and at the end of the passageway, she finds a way to escape through a sewer. So she's thinking about it, she's like, oh, it's a way out, but then she's like, I got this, I don't need to escape and be chased down forever, I can earn my freedom and do this the honorable way.
Yeah, I like that.
So on her way back, she veers and stumbles upon a hidden vantage point overlooking the Great Hall, where the Samhain feast is taking place. And who do we see at this feast? We see
our
Dorian,
boys.
we see Kale, but then we see the other champions. We see Nox, we see Kane, and she is pissed.
Yeah. She is not happy. After being told that the champions couldn't go to the feast? Ugh.
So she is stuck in her room for the night, only given the option to go do whatever religious things happen in their version of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the champions are feasting and drinking and having fun and...
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? What the hell, Dorian?
I'm so sad. Poor Calaena.
So, do a little POV swap here, and now we're in Dorian's POV. And he visits her room in the middle of the night. But he's not alone. He's not the only one visiting her chambers at this ungodly hour.
Who? Who is visiting our Calaena?
Mr. Captain of the Royal Guard, Kale, is also there.
Love triangle.
And Kale, he immediately gets grumpy. He starts laying in the door and he's like, what are you doing here? She's an assassin. Are you an idiot? Go away. Go back to your room. Leave this room alone. And I was just like, oh, someone's looking a little green over here with jealousy.
At this point, I was just like, yes, Kale, let's go.
So, Dorian leaves, being the good little princeling that he is. But someone doesn't leave. Mr. Kale saunters into the room. Calaena's asleep on the bed.
Can we use bunny ears for this? Asleep on the bed.
Yeah, asleep. So she was faking her sleep. And Kale's trying to wake her up, and Miss Not a Morning Person just opens an eye at the sound of his step and goes, "It's not morning." And just kind of rolls over. She's over it. But then he's like, "I brought you a present." And then she's like, "Oh?" She turns towards him and she's like, "Gimme, gimme, gimme." So he gives her a ring. So in Kale's inner monologue, he says they had given him to the women and nobility as favors, and he snagged one from the basket as it was passed around. Most of the women would never wear them. They would be tossed aside or given to a favorite servant. But it was a nice little thoughtful gift. Like, she couldn't be there, and
it was like a little, like, silver band with, like, the bit of nail size amethyst in it. Like, that sounds so pretty.
Yeah. So points for Kale there.
Yes.
Big points for Kale.
And he's, like, blushing, too.
He even brings up, like, "You're still wearing your gown, Calaena," and his blush refused to fade.
Oh.
Our boy's got a crush.
And with a disgruntled sigh, the captain grabbed a blanket from the nearby sofa and tossed it over her. He was half tempted to remove the ring from her finger, but, well, there was something peaceful looking about her. Rubbing his neck, his face still burning, he walked from her rooms, wondering how exactly he'd explain this to Dorian tomorrow. I love everything about Kale, and nothing can change my mind. Not yet, unless this turns into a tampon. Whoops. Anyways.
If you know, you know. If you don't know, that's fine.
Yeah. We'll just jump right into chapter 25. So Calaena dreams that she enters the passage again. And in her dream, she chooses the passage that she didn't go down on her way back that night. She does notice it in the last chapter. She says that, like, it's, like, smelly and it's dark and it's just, like, the heebie-jeebies. So she dreams now that she's going down that passage. And this room is, like, really weird. There's trees carved into the ceiling, and it's obvious that it's a tomb. There's 2 sarcophagi, and she's looking at the sarcophagus that has a sleeping woman's figure on it. And she vocalizes, like, or she's thinking, like, which queen it is. And while running her hands over the marble, she notices that there's a word mark on the statue's brow. So theory, is this what Nemia was looking at Calaena's brow weirdly for earlier? The floor is also etched as the sky. So, like, the room is like it's upside down. Like, it's bizarre.
It's like a little Alice in Wonderland moment.
Yeah, and there's, like, word marks everywhere. It's like, shit is really getting weird. And written at the foot of the queen sarcophagi, is the words, time's rift. And she notices that they are fae. They have pointy ears. So we learn now that this is the first king of Ardalan, Gavin and Elena, the first princess of Terrasen, Brannon's daughter and Gavin's wife, the queen. So there's also, like, against the far wall, she does see piles of, like, jewels and weapons, and a sword was prominently displayed before a suit of golden armor. And she recognizes the sword. It was a legendary sword of Gavin, the sword he had wielded in the fierce wars that had almost ripped apart the continent, the sword that had slain the Dark Lord Erewhon. And even after thousands of years, it hasn't rusted. Though the magic might have vanished, it seemed that the power that had forged the blade lived on. Damaris, she whispered, naming the blade. And now this, you know your history.
Yeah, we know how Sarah loves to make important weapons and magical objects. And we see that in both Akhtar and Crescent City. So I can't wait to come back to the name of this blade.
So she is interrupted here now. A light female voice says, you know your history. And, like, she yelps, she's frightened, she trips over the spear, she falls into a gold-filled chest, and the voice laughed. So this is Queen Calaena. She just appears before her, but she's not like a ghost. She's like an actual tangible entity. She does reveal to Calaena that there's a hidden evil lurking in the castle, and she asks Calaena to destroy it. So Calaena stresses the importance to Calaena that winning the competition and becoming the king's champion, that's important. She's emphasizing her role in protecting Aurelia. Oh boy, like this is one crazy ass dream.
I love a quote she gives too, and she's like, "You must listen to what I tell you. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything has a purpose."
Mm-hmm. Oh boy. Oh boy. So Calaena mentions that she's risked much by coming here tonight. Like she is starting to get kind of frantic. Oh, and she says they're distracted. That's why she's there, because whoever they are, they're distracted. And Calaena's just like, who? Who's distracted? And Calaena says, the gargoyles. What the fuck? The gargoyles. So they're like, we learn now that they are guardians of this world, and there's a portal, so they make sure that nothing gets past. Like, what? For a world that apparently has no magic? This feels very magic-y. Calaena then gives Calaena an amulet and says it'll protect her. And then in the distance, Calaena hears this howl. And Calaena like goes bug-eyed and she tells Calaena to run. At this point then, Calaena wakes up in her bed. So it was just all a dream, right? But no, because she feels the amulet in her hand. And she sees that the door was ajar. And that is how, so like, what the hell? It wasn't a dream because she still smells that like rosy smell that she was getting in the tomb around Calaena. So, this was not a dream. Oh, I have a nervous belly again.
So that brings us to chapter 26. So, Kale's a little bit grabby with Calaena in the morning. He hauls her by the elbow and demands to know where she was the night before. And she's cheeky as fuck and just like, here of course, didn't you visit me to give me this? And waves her fingers in front of him. He tells her that another champion has been found dead, half eaten. So, Kale thinking that she had anything to do with it? Or was he worried about her?
Like, he kind of sounds like he's getting a bit, like, questioning her now. Because he knows that she's powerful. That, like, there's shit that she can do. But he better not actually think that she has anything to do with it. I'll punch him.
So, he lets her know that she has the day off from training. He has shit to do with investigating. She's off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
So, she spends her day off by revisiting the tomb in the passage. She hoped to find something to explain Elena's motive, but her search was fruitless. She didn't find anything helpful. So later on, after getting very dressed up, she convinces her guard to bring her to the library.
She gussies herself up.
Her pink pretty dress. And she's like, there's no way he's going to say no to me looking like this. So off they go to the library. And the library is also where Xavier was found half-eaten. So they pass the body along the way. So she sees how mangled it is. She sees the fact that his brain is missing. Like there's a hole at the top of his head. Mm-hmm. But she also notices there's word marks on the wall written in blood. But they kind of look like they were attempted to be washed away. Mm-hmm. Like someone tried to wipe them down. So, kind of ritualistic. Kind of brings on some questions. So then we cut to Kale and Dorian are now sparring. Now that is a sight I'd like.
Yes.
We don't really learn anything here. They're just both making sure that each other knows the visits to her rooms were not what it looked like. There was nothing fishy going on. Just
I love how they're trying to convince each other that there was nothing to it. You know, it's not as bad as it looked. Chapter 27. Calaena is still like fascinated, obsessed with these word marks. She asks Nehemia about them again, and Nehemia is determined to sway Calaena away from them. She says you shouldn't try to discover what they say. Nothing good will come of it.
I want to add here too, like during that conversation, to my Crescent City fans out there, truly do not know if this would be connected in any way or it just happens to be a similar name. But while they're having their conversation, Calaena was talking about that she spent a winter living in the shadow of Rune Mountains. Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae.
Coincidence?
It's such a minor detail. Like, when I read this the first time, like, I hadn't read Crescent City yet either. So, Rune Dannon was nowhere in my memory of name.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it was, I don't know if it's going to be connected at all or if it's just coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such an odd name to be used
Yeah.
more than once.
I don't think she does anything coincidentally. I think everything.
Like, if you're thinking she wrote this book when she was 16, she wrote the Crescent Cities in her 30s? Late 20s?
Yeah.
It's like, that's a very tiny detail for, I don't know, I'm curious if it's going to be anything or if it's just there.
I think it means something.
But as soon as I read this today, the TikTok song was in my head, and I knew 3 things with absolute certainty.
Ugh. I have never loved the start of a chapter so much before than when I read that chapter.
Oh, so good.
So, back to Throne of Glass. Calaena gives Nehemia all the juicy details on the murder that happened. And Nehemia seems to be interested in knowing more about what happened, even though it's, like, really gruesome.
Yeah, she's not fazed by it whatsoever. She's just like, tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah. What does she have cooking in her brain? That's what I want to know. She's very intrigued. They're disrupted by Cain, who clearly knows Calaena isn't Lillian, which worried me. Because he says, you think your prince and captain are the only ones who know what you are? That's what he says to her. Yeah. Like, what she is? What is she? Is he just referring to her being an assassin? Is that? You would think that he would say who you are, but he says what you are. Nehemia takes her by the hand and tries to usher her away from Cain, saying that they have business. Cain is being a dick, but as they're walking away, Nehemia squeezes Calaena's hand, and she squeezed back. So Calaena is feeling what it's like to have someone have your back. She says it's a feeling she could get used to. They're best friends.
Right at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Besties for life.
Ugh. So Calaena's now training, and Chaol and Dorian are watching her from afar. Chaol thought that this was a good way to make Dorian realize how dangerous she is, but it seems to have backfired a little. So as Chaol is like showing Dorian like this is how dangerous Calaena is, Nox enters to start training with Calaena, as they normally do, and our poor little princeling gets so jealous. He's like, who's that? What are they doing? He's so concerned about this. And he says she made another friend. She's helping him. Like, he is just... No, he does not like it. He's so jealous and he just storms off. So we're back in the library after this, and she's back to researching the word marks. Chaol is with her, and she's frustrated that she's not able to find like any information on it. She does find out that the word gates are both real and invisible things. Humans cannot see them, but they could be summoned and accessed through the word marks. They opened into other realms, some of the good, some bad. Things could come through from the other side and slither into Aurelia. And I feel like this is very familiar.
Yeah, one quote that I have highlighted too, kind of like the same thing, probably around the same part, but some books claim the word is the force that holds together and governs Aurelia, and not just Aurelia, countless other worlds too.
Ooh.
What worlds are we talking here? Are we getting a little Prithian? Are we getting a little...
All of the above. So the other thing that I have mentioned about this chapter, so I don't know if anybody else got like totally sideswiped with this part, but the end of the chapter says Calaena pulled another book toward her and grinned. It was as if someone had read her mind. It was a large black volume entitled The Walking Dead in tarnished silver letters. Thankfully, the captain didn't see the title before she opened it. But, what the hell is The Walking Dead doing in Throne of Glass?
The fact that next sentence too, she didn't remember selecting it from the shelves. So,
Yeah.
What's The Walking Dead doing here, and how did it get here?
Yeah. Like, okay. But then, like, it goes on to say, like, how she opened it, and she was, like, looking at, like, the zombies. And she was like, this could be what's happening.
When I read it, my first thought, this is how my brain is, but instead of Kale, Carl, so it was like Lori is yelling to Carl, I was like, Kale!
Oh my god.
Kale, where are you?
I'll never get that out of my head. Oh. Yeah, she says she grabbed the very last sentence is she grabbed 2 heavy books from the table and stalked from the library, making sure to leave The Walking Dead far behind.
As you would.
Yeah. But what the hell? Sarah, what are you doing? So where do we go in chapter 28?
The last chapter of the episode. So, not something you'd expect to see in the kind of time that this book is based in. The chapter starts with Calaena playing pool.
Listen, she mentioned The Walking Dead, nothing can surprise me now.
Right? And playing is a little bit of a
overstatement. Yeah,
more like getting very frustrated and raging. And Mr. Princeling is watching and makes a comment, for the world's greatest assassin, this is pathetic. And in typical SJM fashion, she uses the pool stick and gives Dorian, and here comes my little finger quotes, but obscene gesture.
Oh my god, the obscene gestures.
For anyone who doesn't know, in Akhtar, and I think a little bit in Crescent City,
possibly,
it is very frequently mentioned that instead of like giving someone the middle finger or anything like that, she uses a vulgar gesture in Akhtar. I think in Crescent City they kind of say like flipped them off, like where it's more modern, they kind of use the proper terms.
I don't really remember.
I think I remember a part where Bryce flipped off Rune, but that was... Anyways, so we have vulgar gesture for Akhtar, and now we have obscene gesture for Throne of Glass. I can't remember if she uses it as frequently as vulgar gesture.
I am officially keeping tally. Starting right now, I'm keeping tally.
I don't think she does, because I didn't remember that being a thing until I read Akhtar, and I was just like, why? But
what the hell?
Anyways, so Dorian and Calaena seem to just have a really good night of just easy company. They're having fun, they're opening up to each other, and just seems like a well-needed break to just let loose and let your worries fly free. So late into the morning, Calaena falls asleep. She just crashes. And Dorian picks her up and he's like, you're not gonna be comfortable here. And he carries her to bed. But he notices the amulet around her neck. A curious necklace glittering in the hollow of her throat. He felt as if it were familiar somehow, like he'd seen it before.
Ooh.
Where might he have seen it before? What does he know? Or what did he know?
There would be like pictures of like Elena and King Guy around the castle, right? Like that would be a normal thing.
I feel like maybe pre-current king there probably was, but when the current king went on his destruction of anything magical, anything not him. He probably destroyed anything that would have had Calaena and Gab. So yeah. How are we feeling? We're halfway through the book. We got a lot of theories going. A love triangle, perhaps. Potential monster possession happening.
And still 2 more tests?
Yeah.
Ooh, we've got a lot to cover in this last half of the book.
Yeah.
It ain't all getting covered. There's no way. Oh, I am addicted. I'm obsessed with this book, and it's killing me not knowing what's going to happen. And I'm trying to pace it because I don't want to read ahead of our scheduled, recordings, because I don't want to risk messing anything up. So it's difficult. It's very difficult.
And it's not going to get any easier going forward.
No.
Some of her books in this series end on huge cliffhangers. So when we get, it's gonna kill us having to wait. Because, even though I've read it before, I'm dying to get to the next part. I'm dying to get to this and get to that.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, but it definitely seems like magic is not all gone.
No. So far from it.
Despite the king's best efforts, magic's still lingering in the world. Aside from what we've talked about already, do you have any more theories brewing or previous theories that you had that have kind of been bunked or a little more info on?
Not really. I'm still just reeling on what Nehemia knows. I cannot wait to get more information on just her in general. And Calaena's forehead. Her forehead. But no, I'm still very much the same as last episode. Still just trying to work everything into, and a lot of my theories are revolving around Crescent City and ACOTAR too. I don't want to. Oh,
might have been a bad idea to start with Throne of Glass. That should have been the finale.
Yeah. It's just more evidence that we need to do the other ones as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the plan anyways, but yeah, I want to know, who else is reading along with us and what your thoughts and feelings are so far. Message us or leave a comment on our Instagram post. Just tell us your thoughts. I want to theorize.
And for anyone who has already read it and is listening in anyways, are you enjoying this as much as I am?
I feel like I'm going to be a laughing stock.
Maybe about one thing, but...
Oh, what? What thing?
And I stirred the pot.
It's the forehead thing, isn't it? I'm too obsessed with her forehead.
I'll give you a hint. Not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Okay. We'll circle back.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Enough of this. I need to go read more.
All aboard the hate train.
What? Who do we hate? Do we hate Nehemia? Do we hate Kale? Don't tell me we hate Kale. I will cry. Oh.
Oh, this is so fun.
The anguish I feel right now. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be eating my words, I think.
So, before our next episode, you want to make sure that you read chapters 29 to 42. We'll be discussing, once again, anything and everything.
Oh, I can't wait. And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass.
Hear the call. Adventure awaits beyond the wall. Elsa and Stacy cast enthrall. Caffeine and conjuring ignite. Witches brew and kingdom.